Welcome, everybody, to Global Citizen Life podcast. Today on the show, I have a very exciting guest, George Ishee. Thank you, George, for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So, George, you have an interesting business and concept of helping people make money. And one of the things that sometimes hold people back from moving abroad, or whether it's full time or part time, is the finances. So, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you can help people financially so they can live the life that they desire.
Great. Thanks. Great question. And what we do, we've just invented this new process that nobody's ever done on the internet before. So it's brand new, but it's a methodology where anybody who wants to change their life financially to get more money, long as all they have to do is say, look, just tell me what to do, and then I'll go do it. And for those people, we've got a very simple solution. And what we do, we ask it in 3 questions. It's kind of like a quick little story to understand. But I ask people, I say, hey, have you ever found one of these little pennies and picked it up on the ground? And everybody says yes. Second question, I say, did you ever turn that into $1.3 million to be financially free? And they go, oh, no, I didn't do that. And you go, oh, man, it's so close. You did 2 of the 3 things. But here's the real thing. If you take this penny and you double it to 2 cents, and then 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, not even compound interest, just basic doubling, it mathematically, with 28 steps, will equal $1.3 million. Can't argue with that. You can look at my website. We've got the math mapped out. But here's the real question that I give people that can change their life financially to be able to afford to move wherever they want in the world and not worry about money. Because if they're struggling now and they want to get to that financial freedom, here's the question. If you had taken this penny and actually doubled it 28 times and got $1.3 million and had it in the bank, would it be harder or easier to do it a second time? And 100% of people, they look and they go, oh, that'd be easy because I would know that would work. And then you could just take, it worked, apply it to each of the doubling steps and apply action to it. And they could do it over and over and over again, which means financial freedom, to afford to live anywhere in the world without worrying about the money. So that's what we invented. It's a program called millionairesbygeorge.com, because I'm George and I want to make millionaires. So Millionaires by George is the site. And what we do, we actually, if you found this penny, here's the secret of how it works. You take the penny, then you log into your account and say, here's, I found my penny. I was going into the gas station and I looked down, there was a penny. I picked it up, said, wow, the universe brought me my stake to financial freedom. And then you go back and you log into your free 10-step account out of the 28 steps we mentioned, and you describe how you found it. I was at the gas station, found it, enter. And everybody can do that. And then here's where the magic of your journey to financial freedom starts, which is totally different, is my software then would open up and would show that person all the answers of everybody else ahead of them in my system, one step ahead of them, how those people completed the step you're about to start. So you get to see what worked for different people in different ways and say, oh, I don't like what Mary did or Bob did or John did, but oh, I like what Michael did. And you just take his answer, copy it, apply action to it, and double it with that, enter it in, enter. And now your answer then helps those people behind you one step. And then we show you the next step and the next step of how people did it. So the summary is, if I gave you a 28-question quiz that led you to financial freedom, but I gave you the answer to each question before you had to answer it, could you pass? And everybody
Absolutely.
goes, wow, they've told me what to do. Now all I have to do is take action and go do it. And I laugh and I say, they spelled action wrong in the dictionary. They spell it ACTION.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, all you have to do to change your life is take the I out of the middle and put it in the front. And it now says, I act on blank. I act on my wealth
Oh.
journey to freedom. So just by taking the knowledge we give you and applying action, now anybody has a path to financial freedom. Boom.
I think it's very interesting, a great concept. I mean, it's and so easy to be starting with a penny.
Yeah,
For one, that's the easiest thing is to start with a penny. And then also what I love about it is how you read all the things that other people have done, because some things just don't resonate with us, right? Because
sure.
there's so many things that people just say, oh, just copy the millionaire, copy the billionaire. Well, I'm not going to be Elon Musk. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
that much into rockets and space and going to Mars, which cool in a way, and it's, but I don't have that desire. So, I'm not going to follow or do what he does. And there's a lot of things in that way of just following. But it's nice that we can start with something as small as a penny and read about all the different things people have done, and then find what resonates with us and say, oh, I like that. I'm going to do that to make my one penny, two pennies.
Here's what's really interesting is we're training their brain in a way that they've never been trained before. So if you look at the 28 steps, the first 10 steps, we have a 30-day money mindset challenge, which is free. And it's you find a penny and you double it 10 times in 30 days to get to $5.12, which is everybody laughs because, yeah, I could do that. But what we're doing, we're re-scripting a whole new belief system that you never had before. Because see, all of us, when we were born, we didn't have any belief about money. So
Right.
when we could start to listen and hear and comprehend at maybe 2, 3, or 4, we started listening and building a belief. But unfortunately, almost all of us heard things like, "Oh, you can't afford that. Oh, rich people are greedy. Money's the root of all evil, blah, 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 blah." And when your brain got enough data, it formed a belief about money that locked you in for life, and it goes down into your subconscious and you can't get to it. If you could go change
Right.
it, it would change, but that controls your belief. But the scientists told me that's how we learn. So we created the same learning pattern of doubling a penny 10 times in a row. Because once you double it in that short amount of time, in those small increments, your brain will never ever question, can I double? Because I just did it 10 times in a row and I have a new belief. Then it shifts to the right side, the creative side, and it comes up with the next tough question is, well, how do you do it? And if you don't have a how, your subconscious will self-sabotage it and you'll quit and you'll go right back to the old belief, right? But now
Right.
in the challenge, we also show them 10 times in a row how you get the answer before you have to start it. So now your brain does the same thing. It won't question how do you do it because it has the proof. Now you have a new path that will let your brain will allow you to go and change your future. And then we give you the roadmap, the yellow brick road, and we show you how to do it. So it's for those people that really are hungry, that want to change their life and just don't know how to do it. They're either doing 2 or 3 jobs, or they think they have to take a second job because they're about here financially. And it could be
Mhm.
Gen Zs coming out of college. It could be new families, where you have a couple children, you just bought a house, you bought a car, you're about here under your water, about to here, but you just want to get here. And then plan
Right.
it. You have fears that your spouse or somebody could lose your job, and then all that would be in total danger. So
Mhm.
it's a model that people can start doing and change their life in 2 to 5 years from now. So I tell people, to look at what your age is now and, take 5 years if you're doing it part-time without even using your own money because it was free money. And
Right.
what would your life be if you had in 4 or 5 years an extra $1.3 million sitting on the side that was cash, and you had the knowledge to do it over and over and over again? That becomes financial wealth. So that's what's really cool and gets me passionate and excited.
Right. And that's just starting with a penny. And so once, as you said, that mindset, you make that shift, you can do it, then imagine starting with $10, $100,
Yeah.
$1,000, because once it's what we've seen several times with very wealthy people who go bankrupt, or
Yeah.
they have a company, the company goes bankrupt, and all of a sudden they rebuild and they're again a multimillionaire in a very short period of time.
Yep.
And it's not because, like, I've heard people say, "Oh, I lost it all. I need to start over." And I don't completely believe that. I mean, yes, if whatever something's happened, you've lost it all, that I can understand. But we never truly start over because you already have all that knowledge, right? And so even if you do it from a penny once, you can do it again. If a millionaire goes bankrupt or the company goes bad, whatever it is, you've lost the physical assets, the cash, the things like that, but we don't lose what we know. And what we know never is starting over again. We can get there quickly. So
What-
once, if you do it once and it takes, as you said, let's say 2 years or 4 years, five
yeah,
years, if they're really busy and working and doing other things, how long would it take to do it a second time or then a third time? It would
yeah,
cut that time probably in half.
sure. And what you're really describing, and you're exactly right, is the core belief. Those millionaires have a different belief, and validate it's true because you look at the people that win the lottery, and in
Oh
5 years
yeah,
later they're dead broke. It's because their belief that they had as a baby, that data, it says you're not allowed to have that kind of money, and they get rid of it all, unfortunately, through gambling or investments that were bad, etc. And they go right back down to that level of the belief. So what we're
that's
doing,
right.
we're actually rescripting a new belief that will keep them from going back to that when they get it. And they'll have, like you say, now they may have the millionaire mindset that they can do it over and over and over again because they know it works. I even tell people, when you get to the 1.3 million, what if you donated 1 million back into society, leaving you 340,000? And I say, could you live on 170,000? And people go, yeah. And you say, so what you do, if you take that 175,000, which is step 25 of 28,
Hmm.
and you donate 1 million and you live on 170,000, and then you take 170 and do it those last 4 steps, make another 1.3 million and donate another 1 million. And now that becomes your new job. You're a philanthropic person with that. And that's your new job and career to give back to society. How cool is that?
That really is. It's super fascinating, and it's the ripple effect to it as well. So it's not even just the individual and their family unit, immediate family, but extended, and then those ripple effects of donations and helping others as well.
Picture this. You're a family, you got young kids. Imagine if they reach high school and you start playing this game, because we've got it as a gamification. So it's kind of cool. The kids would like that. But
Yeah.
imagine if they went through 4 years of playing this game with you and they graduated with 1.3 million and the knowledge to do it over and over again. So you never ever worry about your children's future as they get out into the world. There's a why moms are starting to go, I gotta get this going, because
Mm.
that's what our dream is as a parent, is to get our children out so they can fly and make it on their own. And that's that deep worry if the children aren't getting that knowledge in school, or
And
learning.
they're not.
No,
I mean, the school system is not making people be successful business owners. They are designed to make them be followers and work in, well, it was designed to go to work in a factory. That's how the education system was designed and was needed. And it used to be good. You could go and work in a factory and have a good job, good employer, work there, good retirement paid out, and it was good, but it's not good that way
but what,
anymore.
what I love about how this connects back into your world is because now think about those children when they come out of high school or college. They now have the ability to travel the world, live anywhere in the world, take their parents with them, and it just opens up that financial freedom because the world is there for everybody to see and share and communicate with, and your vehicle allows them to do that, which is fascinating. I
Mm.
think what you're doing is tremendous.
Well, it's just, I mean, for one, it started just with my own personal love of travel. And
Mm,
then with that, there wasn't a point where it was like really a tipping point or a turning point, but I just remembered over time, I kind of realized at one point, my beliefs and my thoughts aren't right, but they're not wrong either. They're just
yeah,
mine. And I got that from traveling because I would talk to different people and I would realize that they had thoughts and beliefs based on their life, where they live, what their parents said, but that was their parents because of how they were raised.
right.
And and it's just a snowball effect. I mean, now there's all kinds of parenting books, whether they're I don't even really like to use the word right and wrong because there are very few things in the world that are right or correct. Like we can say like 2 plus 2 is 4. We've counted, it's that, but anything else can be debatable and it can be just perspective, belief, and thought. And it kind of goes back to I've heard the story a few different times where a person is making, I've heard it as a roast or a ham or something. And so they're cooking and they cut off the ends of the meat, put it in the pan, put it in the oven, cook it. And the husband says, why are you cutting that off? And the wife says, well, because that's how my mom made it. Like, that's what you do. That's how it's made. And so they had dinner at the mom's house, or she called, and depending on which story. And mom said, "Well, that's because that's how you make it. That's how it's cooked." And then they were either at grandma's or they called grandma and asked why. And she just said, "Well, so then it fit in the pot." Like it was just, and so our beliefs, and it was true. The grandma had to, so it fit in the pot because the roasting pot was small. So it's not wrong to cut off the ends, but it just wasn't necessary or didn't need to be as time went by. And that's the same thing with a lot. It's whether it comes down to money, whether it comes down to religion, politics, and getting an opinion on something I always think is hard because it can even be at a restaurant. Oh, is the restaurant good? Well, what's
Yeah.
your definition of good? Is something spicy? Well, I know
Mhm.
a lot of people will eat food that's so spicy to me. Like there's no way. And they would say, oh, no, it's not very spicy because
Yeah.
everything is just opinion. And so there are very few things that are factual. And it's the same coming back to with your when you find a penny, how are you going to double it? There's so many ways. There's not one right way. There's not a wrong way. Well, I guess maybe the wrong way would be you just put it in a jar and you don't do anything with it.
Well,
I
nobody
mean,
told
unless
him.
it's a lucky one that, might be worth something one day, but otherwise there's so many ways and it's a great way. And then you take that and you can travel and learn so much and do so much and see so much.
You know what I love the most about your business is
What's
you.
that?
It's you because of your expertise. The
Mhm.
people don't realize how many countries you've been to and how many places you've seen that give you the expertise to even be able to tell them that you could do this and help them do it. So, how many countries have you been to again?
I've been to 50 countries.
See, that 50 everybody will go, oh, she knows what the heck she's talking about. So that just makes your business so valuable to people that have it in the back of their mind in the particular act of it. I wonder if I could live somewhere else or travel somewhere else. And how can I get that knowledge? So you're the connection that brings all that together. So that's what I love about your business.
Yeah, it's well, and everybody, it doesn't matter where we are in the world, everybody wants food, shelter, clothing, happiness, security, safety.
So
It's
answer.
that's called being a human being.
So
And it
I got
doesn't matter
yeah.
where we live in the world, every single person wants those basic things. And, some places it's easier to get than others.
I got a personal question for you.
Mhm.
What's the most exciting thing that somebody has said back to you after you helped them? Hmm.
Um, I guess it would be how they're going to help others in their family and their friends to also change their lives. It's
Yep.
it's that ripple effect of them helping others, or just how it's going to change their kids' life, or even for some that are simple that have just moved abroad and they're retiring and they're like, it's so great. I'm here. I'm so happy. My family gets to come here and see me. My family is now coming to Italy for Christmas holidays. I never thought I dreamed of moving here. I never thought I would be here. Not only am I here, they're going to come, and my kids or my grandkids are going to grow up knowing like grandma moved abroad and did this, and they're going to come for the summers and they're going to know the Italian culture and hopefully learn some Italian while they're here in the summer, And I mean, just that happiness of her being able to do things like for her grandchildren. Obviously she was very happy that she was there, but it was more how it's going to affect her grandchildren and hopefully then new generations of her family and the opportunities that it could potentially give them from her just moving abroad.
What a powerful why for somebody to dream about the service that you offer. People can dream about that now and know that there's that future is ahead of them and they can get to it, which is really, really cool. So I love
Yeah,
that.
and it's not as hard as what people think. I mean, it takes time. There's planning.
Sure.
There's stressful things, of course, dealing with governments and paperwork. Nobody enjoys that. Nobody likes it. But once you're in your new country and you're there, you kind of forget about it. I relate it in a way that's completely a weird way of relating it, but it kind of popped in my head the other day. So it's like a woman giving childbirth. It is horrible and I mean it's not even as bad, but childbirth is horrible and it's painful and going through it you're like never doing it again and then you have a baby and you kind of forget about it. And you have the joy in the kid and you do it again. And
It's
sometimes you do it again and again, right? And it's
kind of like paying
it's that
taxes.
thing. And you look at it, it's like, oh, at that moment
Yeah,
sucked. That there was a bump in the road. It was frustrating for a few moments of those months were frustrating. But then in the end, it's like it was worth it because that small, even if it was a full year of, let's say, frustration, which
mhm.
it's not, but even full year of things that are frustrated, when then you have decades of your life, 1 year is like nothing in the span of your entire life. And I mean, who knows how long it's going to be, but we are becoming living longer and longer. And
Sure.
so it is so I think it's easy to do. A little bit frustrating, but it's not
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, but they can move to other countries where the costs are less, the taxes are less,
Oh,
your quality of living is higher. So there's so many
yeah.
benefits that you show off to these people that they don't even realize. So it's an education process along with that. So that's pretty cool.
The cost of living in some countries, and I mean beautiful countries, is substantially lower. Like people just don't believe it. They just don't understand. They don't think it's possible. Like I have a place in Montenegro and a friend of mine went, she's like, oh, I'll pay you for utilities and stuff. I'm going to be here for 2 weeks. And I said, don't worry about it. I think my utility bill for her being there, and I said, use as much AC as you want. Like, honestly, it's okay. I think it costs me roughly $20 for her to be in my place for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, that's too high. I'm sorry, but no, I'm just kidding.
It's and because so the people ask me, I have my place, I don't use it a lot. They say, do you rent it out? And I said, no, I have it
Mhm.
there. My friends can use it. I don't know when, I come and go because I don't need to,
Yeah.
right? Because those overhead costs are so low. The food, and we're starting to hear more and more about it. I mean, we've always kind of known, but it's now in the media and some in the governments of all the additives that are put in foods in North America, especially the United States, that are completely illegal in places in all countries in Europe.
Mhm.
And it's allowed here. So I know people that would go on holidays or go for a month or they're, checking out to move somewhere. And they say, yes, we understand. Like we are walking a lot more because
Mhm.
Europe is walkable. It's designed to walk, which is quite nice. And they're like, but I'm eating so much. I'm eating pasta and I'm eating breads and I'm eating all the things that I never would really eat. And I'm losing weight. It's because we don't have a lot of that added chemical and crap
Jump. Yeah.
in the food over there. It's even coffee. Here, it's crazy to me. I was looking for coffee and I have to look for something that's mold-free coffee because
Wow.
they allow mold in coffee beans in the United States.
Wow.
The coffee beans, anybody who sells coffee beans, the very first place they go to is Europe because Europe has such high standards for coffee beans. Every country, they're not allowed into the European Union. So
Yep.
they sell them first. Whatever the European Union does not buy for coffee beans, then they sell them to other places. So I think it's crazy that I have to look for mold free coffee beans in the United States when that's an automatic given. We are not allowed to mold in our coffee in Europe.
Wow. Never knew that. That's interesting. Quite
And
interesting.
it's a little thing, but it's a big thing, right? And that's just like one on top of so many things. So just the lifestyles, the cost of living. And I just use Europe as an example. There's amazing places. I know people that are living in Mexico and Colombia and Paraguay, Uruguay, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia. I mean,
Um,
the list goes on. There's so many places. So I often say to people too that are clients that, sometimes they're like, well, it's the affordability. We're on a budget. I need a place to be affordable for me to live to.
sure.
And we can find a number of places, but it's a little bit disappointing that people have to move because of affordability. And that's what
Right.
I love with what they can do with you, and to slowly get out of that have to for affordability. But there are so many places, and we look at, okay, but like what is best for you, and what lifestyle do you want? Right?
Yeah.
And sure, there's always an affordability to lifestyle. Even if you're making $10 million a year, which is a ton of money, there's still a limit because there are $100 million homes. There's $100 million yachts. There's, like it just it never ends. And I say to people, if all you're looking after is money, you're never going to be happy because there's always more. There's always the newer, bigger, better,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but it's finding what's right for the person. How much money do you need to be comfortable?
Right.
To live the life you want? How much time do you want? How close to your home country, city do you want to be? What type of weather do you want? What activities do you do? How old are your children or grandchildren? How are they going to come see you? There's lots of things. And so I often say, I don't care where you live, because to me, it doesn't matter. What I care about is that you move to the city and country that is best for you.
Makes sense. Absolutely. Well, what I love about is I just envision I'm going, okay, if somebody says, all right, I'm going to plan out 4 or 5 years from my
Mhm.
next life, they could use my program to forge your program, and you're coaching them all the way along the way and helping them get there so they can actually set a call it a 5 year retirement plan,
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
and that's fascinating because there's not really a program or combination of programs that people know about that they could do that to change their life. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Right.
So I'm happy to have you on me. This is pretty special.
Yeah, and I say to people too, like as you said, it's a plan. People are at different, I call them different chapters of life. We
Yeah.
have our young lives when obviously when we're kids, we're teenagers, maybe in our early 20s, we've already had a bunch of chapters. But then kind of big changes of chapters are when we become adults, when we get married, have kids,
Yep.
kids leave home, we get to retirement, or just empty nesters, like because the ages vary.
Mhm.
I was an early empty nester compared to a lot of my friends. Even some of my friends now aren't empty nesters, and I have been for a long time. So that's why I call them chapters. I don't like to go by ages because it varies on it. And so planning for that next chapter, it could be 2 years out, 3 years out, 4 years out, or five. We have some clients that say, our kids are in we're waiting for them to go to college, university, because they're probably going to go away anyway. They're not going to stay in their home state or province. And so we're starting our planning now. So then when they go off to college and university, that's when we're going to make that move. But in the meantime, we're doing trips because we're doing what we call scouting trips. We're going
Sure.
to go to the countries that we're thinking of, spend, time even with our kids if they're on summer holidays. We
Mhm.
go as a family, summer holidays, we check out different countries, different cities, and decide kind of where we like what's going to be best for us. And then when our kids go to college and university, then that's when we're going to move, and they have that plan. So it's financial long-term plan. Then also they're looking at, do we really need to buy that? Because if we're going to move in 4 or 5 years, why do we
Right.
need to buy that? Or if it's shorter, and it is starting to think of those things. Why buy things if you're going to be moving? You maybe want to start downsizing. Start selling things in your home, putting them online and slowly. So it's not such a, oh, I have a year to sell everything and move in my home. And and we can
Mhm.
start because most of us, I want to say almost all have way too much stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't need all that in Europe or some of those other places either. Plus, it costs a lot to
Yeah.
move. So,
And it's expensive to move.
yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of places you can just buy new. And we granted we work with movers as well because there are sometimes that sentimental value, those certain things that you want to move abroad with you. I get that. But there's the way I see it, there's no point in buying a bunch of stuff if you plan on moving within the next three
Yep.
years.
Yep.
That's when you want to start saying, okay, we can start selling, use that money, put in a separate account, invest. Your
Yep.
program would be great. So it's not even just a penny, but it's more than that. It could be like all those things that we're selling, we put into this program so we can be getting faster to that financial goal that we want.
'Cause what we do, that's a perfect, because the first 21 steps literally just take you to $10,000, but that's all the education. And then once
Mhm.
you know, now you're the expert and you've trained your brain. Now the last 7 steps, you could jump some of the steps by adding some of that money in and get there even faster. So it just aligns perfectly. So that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So, George, where can people find your program if they're interested in it? They want to sign up. As you said, the first 10 days is free, so everybody should, check it out at least. And where can they go to find it?
And also I just throw in that we also have an affiliate program. So when they sign up, they become an affiliate. And if they refer other people in and we move to the paid module, which is step 11, and it's a whopping $35 a month, but we would pay, if you refer somebody in, we'll pay you $10 of that 35. So if somebody
Okay.
wants the whole system for free for life, all they'd have to do is refer 4 people. So you get 10, 20, 30, 40, and it costs 35. So now it's free, plus you make $5. Or you could
Right.
more people and make a passive recurring income. And our site, since my name is George and I'm the inventor of it, and I want to make millionaires. So we named it millionairesbygeorge.com. And go check it out.
Millionairesbygeorge.com.
There's 2 videos that will explain it to you. One at the very top, that's picture me, that explains deep in how it does it. And then if you scroll down about 3/4 of the way down, I have another video that actually shows you the back end, and it shows you how it works and shows you that you actually get the knowledge of what to do before you have to do it. So go look at those 2, and then you'll go, oh my gosh, there it is. So wonderful.
That's perfect. And we'll make sure to have that link in the show notes to make it even easier for everybody to connect and check it out. So I just want to say thank you very much for your time today, George. I really appreciate it.
My honor. Thank you very much.